that are contributed to it. So, you know, my lost in translations is the metaphor or the analogy that I want to use today, and say if we move into what we are doing today to develop, you know, or to move from the blueprint, as I say, to reality, well, we need to work together to across first the three main building blocks of the European data space. And the first one is clearly about the empowerment and portability. Essentially, when the European data space in full will be implemented, you know, the data will follow us, no matter the languages, no matter the countries, no matter the health systems I am in Europe at that particular time. Today, we already have the patient summaries and the e-prescriptions that are following us. You will see, I will elaborate a little bit later on this. Now, to do so, for the first part of the equations, it is important that we empower the users to control their own data. And this is an important pillar of the regulations and what we are doing now to create the foundations of the deployment. The second point is about data-driven innovation. And here, we all know that we have millions of data points that are available in Europe, but they are in silos. So technically, they are very difficult to discover, they are very difficult to analyze, they are very difficult to unpack. And so the essence of this pillar is to open up that data and enable us, all of us, to share the insights that are there. And of course, that is linked to the evolutions of artificial intelligence. And the third pillar here, it is about the single market for electronic health record systems. You know, you just said at the very beginning, you know, I hope that we don't have a problem in interoperability. Unfortunately, in healthcare systems, we do have a problem of interoperability, especially when it comes to electronic health record systems. Now, with the applications of the rules, we are here creating a single market for EHR because we will have common standards, because we will have common technical specifications, and thanks to certifications, we will make that happen in the years to come. So the real question is, where are we today? Well, the Commissioner Varelli just said it. You know, we are working towards creating the foundation of the European health data space. And these foundations, say, are composed by three building blocks. The rules that would resonate with most of you, especially, let's say, those that are accustomed to work with the legal text. The rules, the infrastructures, and the governance of the entire systems. Now, when it comes to rules, the Commissioner said, we are developing something like 20-25 implementing acts out of the regulation that are fundamental for the deployment at later stage. And once they have been published, everyone from the hospitals to digital health companies in Europe, research institutions, they will have to speak them. The second one is the infrastructure. You know, so you see, we move from legal pieces, documents, to software. And these are the systems that will carry the data from one country to another at European level. I will elaborate on the architecture as well on this, but you know, you realize that this is an important piece because it will be the physical means through which the data will move from a language to another language seamlessly, especially, or from health systems to another health systems seamlessly. Now, clearly this is very ambitious, and this is the reasons why we are doing it very carefully, and we are doing it very carefully also because we are working on a series of 27 at least systems that already exist, and certainly we don't want to dismantle them. And the third, it's about the governance, because you realize that making sure that this is delivered does requires an oversight structure to ensure that the rules are followed by the actors so that the systems remains trustworthy. Now, what are the phases of implementations? So moving from the vision to, let's say, reality requires a very solid and, say, rigorous roadmap. No, I show here 3 phases. The first one is the one where we are now, in a way. We are in the phase of design and development. So this is a phase that started, say, around March 2025, right after the adoption/entry into force of the regulation, and will run until March 2027. Here, it is when we commission together, we means this community to which you belong, by the way, the community of Europeans that have a stake into the European health data space are developing the key implementing acts. And these key implementing acts are the technical specifications. These are the granular rule of the games and that we are now setting into stones. So this is the moment where we discuss, say, what do we need, for instance, to harmonize, where we understand where potential frictions are, and we try to smooth them, discuss, and come to conclusions, because this will help us with the phase number 2. Phase number 2 that will, this is essentially the phase that will start in March 2027, which is the transition, say, from the paper to the practice, in essence. It will translate these rules into technological solutions that will help everyone access the data, or every researcher to call for data to support their projects. The third phase, it is, say, the one that will start in 2029, and essentially it's the real operation of the entire system, and it will move into the solutions that will serve the purpose of 450 million citizens in Europe. Now, this is the overall timeline, blocked into primary use or secondary use, as you will discuss today. In essence, this is the GPS, of where we are going. You know that by 2029, we will have the patient summaries and e-prescriptions delivered, and then we will take medical images, we will take laboratory tests, and discharge letter. The approach, it is obviously staggered, especially when it comes to the secondary use of data, and the reason is pretty simple. We are dealing with very sensitive data, so we treat first a set of data that we know how to manage today, and we will move step by step into more highly complex data. So essentially, this shows to you that it is not a transformative project that comes into a block, but is rather a sequential transformation. And what are we discussing today? And I'm so sorry for these slides, but I mean, I can, but I knew that the screen was big, but you can access that afterwards. But this is in essence the list of implementing acts that we are working on right now. And there are, let me mention some of them that are, by the way, in public consultation, and there is a call for you to contribute. So certainly one of the building blocks, it's about the European Electronic Health Record Exchange format. This will be the set of specifications that will allow everyone to move the piece of health data from one EHR in a country to another EHR in another country without changing the original structure, but making sure that you can pack, unpack, read, and understand what that data is in the language that you need to use. So I send in Italian. I'm Italian and I have records in Italy. When I go to Brussels, they will read it in French or in Flemish, because that's what the systems will actually help us to do. Now, we are also working on the set of specifications on security, on confidentiality, and on the specifications for detailing the metadata to access the data. And this may look like a simple exercise, but think what will enable, you know. A researcher, no matter where he is, you know, say in Bulgaria, will know, according to a standardized format, including in its own language, where or not the data that is now in Italy suits his project or not. It's a catalog that will enable access to the secondary use of data. Now, we are doing consultations on this. There are projects that are going on. But let me show you these slides that says that when it comes to the data for healthcare, to address, you know, Hermes problem in the emergency room, we are working, and I have to pay tribute also to Enrique Martins, because he knows that by, you know, inside out, since he was one of the chair or co-chair of the EHDS network that, you know, has followed the evolutions of this program over the years. You see that the exchange of patient summaries and e-prescriptions on a voluntary basis, it is already happening, and the digital infrastructure, it is being, let's say, it is not only operational for some parts of this element, but is also being worked out by other countries that are connected. So technically, there are ongoing projects there that are connecting to the systems. Now, very rapidly, but I don't want to be very tedious on this, but I wanted to show you, and I will do back and forth. So there are two architectures that I want to talk to you about. This is the, say, high-level architecture of the primary exchange of data. Now, very high level. There is a central service that connects nodes. So technically, this is a star network. This essentially means that there is no repository in Brussels of health data whatsoever, and that the data moves from Italy to Brussels via a system that connects national contact points. You see? So when it comes to helping the person in the emergency room, it is through these systems that the data will flow, but will not be stored, say, in Rue de la Loi or somewhere else there. The second one, it is about the researchers that need to use the data, look for the data, and get access to it. And this also needs an infrastructure, because you will need to be able to do the search and find the data. And what is the difference here? Well, the difference is that there is no transfer of health data. That this network will enable people to find where the data is and then go there, and in the systems that we will be developing, so the secure processing environment, the data will be able to be analyzed. So here the real actor are the health data access bodies. Now, why what we are doing? Well, it's important because, of course, we are now working on these implementing acts that are most of the ones, the first, at least the first 6 or 5 or 6 are already in advanced phase of consultations. And now, what is my call to you today? You know, it is a call to contribute to define, say, the architecture of this solution. Certainly, as I was saying before, anticipating whether you see any frictions, you know, from a legal, technological, organizational point of view. What are the data fields that we need to include? You know, essentially, these are the reasons to watch to the space, because, you know, it is today that we will need to engage. It is today that you need to respond to the public consultation. It is today that you need to follow what is going on, including through the web pages of the commissions dedicated to the European Health Data Space. It is the day to inject your views into the matters, because this, what we will do over the next 2 years will remain for our generations in the futures. And, you know, Hermes is representative of millions of patients in Europe. Now, technically speaking, we are defining today the grammar. We know where the repositories are, the library is. So engage with the consultation, because it is only through the insights from this interdisciplinary group of people that we will make it a reality. And with that, I really thank you again for putting the European Data Space as a center of discussions today, and I really hope that the today discussions will contribute to move forward with these important projects for Europe and also for the rest of the world. Thank you very much again for the invitation.